All right, gonna do my annual garden tour video for what is going on at the house. It is June 15th, 2025. I'll say that this year has been very cool. I think we've only had a couple of days that have broken 80 so far. And there has been a lot of struggles with the groundhogs this year. They've really multiplied and taken on eating things they never had before, which we'll get into a bit. This is gonna be a bit of a longer video. Kind of want to document everything for a little bit of a snapshot to be able to check year after year, which has been pretty fun. All right, so for the front here, the hostas are looking really great. We got some ferns that I might want to actually cut back now that I'm looking at it. But everything here has been growing just swell year after year. I've been hitting it with chicken manure the start of the season, and I think that's been great. And there's been enough rainfall. I don't water them at all anymore. So pretty happy with all of that. This azalea here has continued to grow very slowly. There's Maple, just turned 2 years old. Hi, Maple. My Maple helps and damages the garden, equal measure. But yeah, this will flower pretty soon. It's coming along steadily. And I think in a couple years, it'll kind of fill out this whole area. So not too bad. The front plantings here have put on a lot of growth. We got the hydrangeas that have just really filled out. The evergreens are continuing to grow. This thing has really exploded this year. Much happier than its counterpart over here. But yeah, lavender, everything's coming along pretty well. Probably do some mulching in between in a bit to help keep these weeds down, but pretty successful. We'll talk about the fern bed over here, which has started to fill in more. Still not where I would love it to be. I did transplant some of the ferns that were popping up over here to here, and they're taking on okay. I still think that moisture is a major issue for this whole area under these maples here. So want to think about long-term solutions for that. Still have this idea about putting a rain barrel and soaker hose off of that. Some new plantings just this year are these viburnum here, which have been, these four guys, have been growing very happily under the full shade and with the moisture issues with these maples sucking everything up. But they seem to be happy, and hopefully in a few years they'll really fill in for some additional privacy from the road. We'll talk about the plantings along the house here. They're okay. I think they're a little bit dry. Some are happier than others. I forget what this is, but every year it gets completely destroyed by something eating it. I don't know what. I think it might be caterpillars. It could be deer, I suppose. But it's just funny. They get devoured. So I don't know. I might transplant something else here someday. The honeysuckle has grown a lot. I mean, it was just put in last year and it was just a tiny little thing. And it is naturally growing up this trellis here, which I'm really happy to see. As you can see, there's a bunch of vines that are gravitating over here and getting the sun on that side. So excited to watch this one. Hopefully by the end of the summer, it'll be pretty much filled in, and next year and beyond, bringing some hummingbirds and the like. Oh, I didn't talk about the cherry. I can show that at the end of the other side. Cherry trees are happy and growing along. I did prune them back this year, so they're not quite as filled in, but I think the right thing for the long term, and hopefully yeah, in a couple years it'll really kind of give a canopy of fruit here. Just starting to turn red, and Jane just picked the first one the other day. I just finally transplanted this red raspberry bush right here. Been in a pot for a few years. kind of limping along. I did so when I saw that there was this black raspberry that volunteered itself back there, so I figured I would give it a go, again in this kind of shady context, but see how that comes along. All right, moving on to the raised beds and food production. We got some mint down there, nasturtium growing in these pots here that are seeming pretty happy with the cooler weather and a lot of rain. These are heirloom tomatoes that have been growing very happily. I really fertilized the heck out of this bed, and they're responding quite vigorously. Got some basil along the bottom there, letting this milkweed pop up and do its thing. I got some sunflowers I'm trialing in some pots back here just to kind of see if they're happy. I think chipmunks or squirrels have been hitting them. I've replanted this whole thing. At first it was definitely the groundhog that was living under the woodshed. Just ate everything. This is the second row of tomatoes I planted here. They ate all the tomatoes. So I'm gonna reseed this. I don't know, see how it goes. Here we have habaneros again in these grow bags. Been doing this for a couple of years and been getting a lot of fruit. They seem to be happy enough with the sun that it gets up here. Again, groundhogs ate everything I planted, this whole row, and I had to replant. It was a huge bummer. Never before had they gone after habaneros, so I have begun trapping them for the first time. Okay, this bed we have sugar snap peas. Again, second round of seeding this out after they got eaten and I had not fenced this in quite enough. Some habaneros there, and then we got some zucchini and yellow squash here. We'll see how they deal with the squash bugs this year. Those guys have been going after me for some time. Here we have a whole bed of these purple peppers that I've grown from seed that have been really fun in years. It's been a couple years since I've grown these guys, but I made some really fun kind of purple hot sauces with them and wanted to do that again. So I have a lot of these guys around. I got even more than just this whole bed, so I might be a little inundated. Some volunteer sunflowers that I'm letting grow here. Here we have a lettuce bed with kale, some lettuce that's about ready to harvest. Put in some extra basil. Got the Russian red and the curly kale here. Might add some more of that, or after I harvest this lettuce, might do some beets. I haven't quite decided yet. Over here we have some cucumbers down here with a few extra sugar snap peas in between. A mystery squash. Let's see what this guy is. Volunteered itself. Some poblano peppers and a yellow squash, eggplant, oregano, another poblano, if I recall. All right, I do want to talk a little bit this time about just the soil production operation. So here we have the chicken coop. The girls are now coming up on their 4th or 5th year of age, still laying quite well. And what I've been doing for a few years now is treating their whole run here as a compost operation. So I put a lot of yard waste, leaves I collect in abundance every fall, wood chips that my tree guy will drop off for me for free. Dump that all in here, and they are constantly turning it, as this is little brother over here is doing now. Looking for grubs, pooping on it, and then I get in here maybe 3-4 times a year, and I dig out this whole run after it's gotten about 2 or 3 feet of material, and I'll sift that, and that has been just the best thing for my plants. It's super nitrogen dense. And then we have over here, these bins are for all the kitchen compost, and I'll put in the chicken bedding in here. And all of our kitchen scraps, and sift this out and use this as well. So those are the combos of 2 different kind of compost operations, and I've really finally, I think this year, just gotten down to 0 inputs. in the way of fertilizer, which is fun. This is the comfrey that I planted outside here, and it is again just super explosive, looking a little messy right now, but this has been a complete joy to grow. The constantly covered in pollinators on the flowers. I am harvesting this all the time and feeding it to the chickens. They also eat it right through the fencing there. I am also going to be making some compost teas with it, and just using it also for the compost. I've already harvested this a number of times this year. This is all new growth popping out at the middle from the cuttings of it that I've already done. So yeah, we'll see. I might move some of the operation around next year. I might get a 3-pallet compost system. We'll see if I make that happen in next year's video. Okay, some new plantings all around the patio this year. This is a prairie rose, a native flowering plant that I just put in and has been growing. Hoping it'll fill out. Be interesting to see how much it does this year, how fast it grows. Along the top of the patio wall here, I am doing a bunch of peppers in pots, jalapenos there, more of these purple peppers. I just did so many from seed and kept them alive, didn't have the heart to throw them out. So now I've got so many of these. More jalapeno there, cherry tomato in that grow bag, more peppers, more tomatoes, another cherry tomato there, and all around. Now for the front plantings here, we've done peonies that are growing well enough. They do have this little bit of burn on some of the leaves. I've read various things about what that could be. It could be inconsistent moisture, getting fried. I have started watering them more. Now I also used a ton of that chicken manure compost, like, you know, maybe 5 inches of it to prep this whole bed. So it might be nitrogen burn. It might be a little bit too much. But at the same time, they're also really dark, healthy looking leaves elsewhere, and they're popping up, so I'm not too concerned about it. In between, I've been selectively weeding everything. And so we have these volunteer sunflowers and then amaranth there. I'm gonna let those grow around it. And I'm gonna mulch in between everything probably this week, just to keep the rest of the weeds down. This is a native raspberry that I put in, one here and then down there as well. It's a bushing variety, not cane type, so that will hopefully fill out and provide more food. And then we have here and here are 2 peach trees, different varieties. This was put in new this year, really exciting. I'm gonna try to prune them into this kind of walkway here. Already putting on a ton of fruit in its first year, so excited. Yeah, big plantings here, and the peonies around, amaranth popping up, volunteer sunflower, this guy's exploding. So yeah, first year with really getting stuff in the ground here. It's been pretty fun. Now this is an experiment that I'm really excited about and has been really fun. A couple years back, I had a pumpkin volunteer out of the compost bin and ended up taking over this entire area, so growing straight out of the compost. So inspired by that, I made these rings of chicken manure, you know, mixed with some wood chips, but very intense stuff. Would be too much to plant directly into for most plants, except pumpkins are so hungry for nitrogen and so happy for it. So I seeded this all out to pumpkins along the side, and you can see they're really popping up even though it's been so cool in early part of the season. And the plan is to let them take over this entire area. We'll see. It's gonna let them go wild and hopefully get a bunch of pumpkins in the fall. It will be fun. Let's see. Let's go down, I guess, this way. This is Japanese maple, which is in this kind of shady context here, but growing year after year. I do think about grinding that stump out and transplanting it there. We'll see, might do it. mushroom logs, produced a bit this fall. We'll check that out. This hydrangea is growing really well. Well, it's growing okay. It's definitely filling out. I might put another one back there. This one is growing even better and just putting on its first flowers of the year. Again, I might add something back here, we'll see. Okay, around the fire pit, I have these potatoes that some friends gave, growing in these 10-gallon pots. They seem to be pretty happy. Now I have put in here 4 pawpaw trees that were put in as bare root, and they're leafing out really well. So this is really exciting. Now last year I had put in, I want to say 8 in this kind of area back there, and they got all eaten, I think, by deer, except for this one. And so that one has growing really well, now taller than me, and these new ones planted around it. So hopefully we get a little pawpaw grove going. That'll be exciting. In the dry sink, I'm doing some marigolds this year, and those purple guys, forgetting the name at the moment. Some purple potatoes growing in the grow bags here. The Juneberry tree is growing well enough. Probably about to put on some fruit to harvest. You can look at these 2 beds here. I got another one of these purple potatoes growing in that, shooting right up. And more of these purple peppers, a lot of purple. I have 5 cherry tomatoes growing on stakes here that are already putting on a bunch of fruit. Pretty exciting. Managing them pretty intensively to grow up. I got some climbing beans that I seeded out there and over there as well. And then a bunch of cucumbers growing along this back fence here that are starting to put on some real growth. All right, in this bed, we have the cut flowers. We have zinnias and dahlias. And I should show the privacy plantings along the berm here. These have gotten huge and really filled in, the privet and the green giants. So that is pretty exciting. Maybe next year I'm thinking about topping the green giants so they don't get too huge and block out the sun, but also so that they grow thicker and wider, or do more sound blockage hopefully. All right, in this bed I planted the sea berries last year, which have not been super happy. I think there wasn't quite enough sun here. Now this guy's looking okay. He has put on quite a bit of growth, as is this one. That one's so-so. A few of them just died, these ones over here, and I think that one was maybe a male, so I think that one might be the only male left. So hopefully they'll continue to do their thing. I have put in some American hazelnuts, some natives here. This guy's new, that I planted between, and then a bare root there that has not put on leaves yet. We'll see. Okay, coming around to the 2 hugel mounds and the creeping thyme. So the creeping thyme was a new project last year, and after intensively weeding it, it has totally taken over this area, which I love. It smells fantastic. It has not yet bloomed. I'm really hoping that it will this summer, maybe by July. Again, it has been really cool and wet, so I don't know if that has affected it, because I do believe it's usually an earlier bloomer, but it's pretty nonetheless. These are red currants that have been growing really well in this hugel mound. There are some red ones already popping up that are going to get ready to harvest. And again, this is like a full shade context here. It gets a little bit of afternoon sun, but super happy, and I think the soil is just really great. When I dig in, it's amazing how dark and rich and full of life the soil is. I've been dumping chicken manure on these logs under these beds for a few years now, and I feel like the soil is really starting to finally pay off, and I'm really starting to get the hugel kind of benefits out of these beds, which is fun. For the first time, I'm going to grow some marijuana outdoors. I got a plant there and a few, two more down over there. See how that goes. I'm hoping for something that's not too strong. That's kind of the goal, since everything in the stores are so intense. Some sage, some rosemary, a golden currant here, and then I've been trying to plant some native strawberries that have been growing well but getting really chewed on by groundhogs. Kind of keeping them back. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. The goji berries that I planted 2 years back just totally died. Weren't happy here. In this hugel mound, we have some black beans that I'm growing all along the top. And then I've seeded out quite a bit in the lower part, some dill, but then some butternut squash and acorn squash. And that is popping up all over, and I might again let it kind of just take over the lawn space here if it wants to, and see if we can get some fall harvestings of that. Now here we've got two new pear trees, one there and one here, which is pretty exciting. Pretty shady context. We'll see if it's enough. I might cut back some of the trees and such that are growing behind it. But they have been growing quite a bit. The leaves are looking okay. No flowers or fruit yet, but just planted these this spring. Here is the willow tree I planted last year, and it has put on so much growth. It has been really fun, really pretty. Just popping up. And there's some wet area down there, and I think it's doing its job soaking things up. The elderberry in the hugel mound here, what a monster. There has just been a ton of growth, ton of flowers. Now the fruit itself, I was getting pretty excited to harvest for the first time, and the birds are just devouring it all, which I don't mind. I mean, that's cool too. We'll see if maybe I'll get some one year. But these are just popping up all over. I think I'm going to give it some structured arch support to make a bit of a tunnel action coming down this path. I haven't gotten to it this year. Maybe next. I've got another happy little marijuana plant there. Basil, dill, lavender. Yeah, some herbs going on there. Okay, also new this year, I have built this stone retaining wall for a new garden on the path down to the basement. We had all these leftover chunks of concrete and stone from the patio project from when they took out the old driveway ramp there, and this has been sitting around in the yard, and previously this whole area had just been filled with invasive grasses and was a bit of an eyesore. So I did a very DIY project here. I bought some soil from a local guy, and I do wish I had done a bit of investigation before I did, because I'm not that happy with the quality of the soil. It was just, I think, pretty nitrogen low. But the plants are doing okay. These front ones here are kind of not so happy. I'm not sure why. They might be a little underwatered. They might be getting too much sun, believe it or not. But the Estible and the hostas are doing all right. And I did put in some elephant ears that are starting to pop up. I don't know if you can see it, but that'll be fun. And then the honeysuckle creeping through the trellis there. Okay, almost done with the tour. We'll come around and look at these shade plantings that I think I put in, I guess, maybe 2 years ago. And they're looking great. They're happy here. I filled in with a few things. The Estible is really flowering and looking nice. The hostas as well. What did I put in this year? Can't rightly recall at the moment. That guy, whose name I'm forgetting. In any case, one thing I'm also trying this year, we had a few trees come down in the ravine. So this will be the big controversial thing I'm doing this year. But I found a native species of bamboo, native to the mid-Atlantic area of the US and the South. So not too far from here, and you can see I put in this root and it's popping up. And that is pretty exciting. If I could get a bamboo grove going in this area, that would be super fun, because right now there's not much privacy in the winter when the foliage is gone, and there's poison ivy everywhere in here. So it's been kind of a challenging spot. And we're putting some new evergreens and such, but I'm going team bamboo. And yeah, especially native varieties, pretty fun. So here is the other cherry tree, which has grown quite tall since the last video, I think. I got some fruit coming on. The mulberry that we inherited with the property here is happy as ever and putting on a ton of fruit. I'm gonna put down some netting this year, I think, to try to harvest as much as possible. Again, back to the front plantings. And then I think the last thing I'll show are these two new guys here. Some native white eastern pine, I think it is, to try to get more of the privacy from the corner, which is so busy, especially in the summer. And I guess we'll end the video on Maple here, who really owns the yard more than anybody. Who's just the best dog, aren't you, Maple? Okay, this is a longer video, but wanted to clock everything. Much love, everybody. Cheers.